Yes, yes, Sir Hairless here. And just here, a very special guest. I'm looking after her at the moment. And she's going to be learning, I guess, about Pink Floyd, one of the most successful and well-known bands of all time, I'm sure. But I only know a few of their songs. This is my confession. I've received several requests for a cover of the song we'll be doing today, and that is High Hopes. So I thought, why not start with the original? This is a more recent one by them, I guess. It was released in the mid-90s, part of their album, The Division Bell. I only know one song called High Hopes, and that's by Codaline. So naturally, when I hear High Hopes, that melody comes into my head. So let's hop on into this one and see if that changes after hearing Pink Floyd's High Hopes. I also don't know how strict copyright will be. I hope it doesn't block my video, but... This is a long one, nearly 8 minutes. Interesting, it zoomed back out a little bit.
Beyond the horizon of the place we lived when we were young, in a world of magnets and miracles, our thoughts strayed constantly and without boundary. The ringing of the division bell had begun.
Very pensive, huh?
Along the long road and on down the causeway, do they still meet there by the cut? There was a ragged band that followed in our...
So, I mean, on this channel, we talk about the music mostly, but the video's really interesting. This is Cambridge University, St. John's College, I believe. I've sung here a few times. Interesting video for sure, and interesting lyrics too. I do have the subtitles on, but they're quite faded, so I'm going to quickly correct that for the rest of the video, if I can. Okay, there we go. Yeah, really pensive song so far. Like I said before, new band to the channel. I don't know how strict copyright will be. Pausing, like we're doing now, really helps reduce the risk of my video being taken down and me getting a strike. So if you don't like pauses, if you want to just watch the song all the way through from start to finish, I'll leave it linked in the description. Please don't be that person who comments,
"So Hairless, why are you pausing? Why can't you just play the song all the way through?"
This is why, for copyright. And I'll take the opportunity to discuss the music just a little bit before we carry on. So if you want to go on this discussion with me, I just have a few points. Let's go back to the beginning. The instrumentation is really interesting. From the opening, we get these church bells. And I'm sure when we hear this, we think of, I don't know, weddings. The key is, of course, different to the song. But then, when this high piano comes in, we have the bell now just on one note, on C. And that's the key of this piece, C minor. Interesting rhythmically too, because the piano is just on the strong beats. Chum, 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 and the bell is coming in between on the offbeat. So it's very regimented, and the bell never moves from that one note. It's just repeating, very incessant on that C. Then the bass joins in, also on this repeated C, and then the vocals come in.
Beyond the horizon of the place we lived when we were young,
I think something that makes it so eerie is the fact that the music seems really static.
World of magnets and miracles.
So what chords are we getting? We have our home key, C minor. Then they just add in this note on top, turning it into a seventh, and then we get a different chord, an A flat chord. But you'll notice that the note on the bottom, the C, because of the repeated bass and bells, is the same. It never changes. So this is all we're getting. There's basically no change to the chords. Really, really limited movement. These two notes don't move. It's only on the top that's different. I think that's quite strange for a song to have such limited movement. We're nearly a minute in already. Usually songs will have 3 or 4 chords at least, just to keep things moving and fluid, at least at a core harmonic level. The first real harmonic interestingness comes, where was it? I think around here as, yeah, these guys were running across.
Along the long road and on down the causeway.
You can hear that things sound a bit tense or suspenseful. Why? Well, we get what's called a suspension. So it's basically this chord, a new chord as well, it's worth noting, first new chord. But one of these notes, this one, is pushed up and is suspended, causing tension. And then resolving. And just before that, leading into this suspenseful bit, we have...
Ringing of the division bell had begun.
Ringing of the division bell had begun. Division bell, name of the album, and we have this incessant bell going on in the background, not changing. And then just after this, moving into the suspension, I think this is where the bass part actually moves.
Along the long road and on down the causeway.
Like bass parts usually do. Typically, they're very mobile, you know, moving all around the place. And then, like I said, that's where we get our first real new chord in there. Interesting song so far, interesting lyrics, very eerie. Let's carry on.
There was a ragged band that followed in our footsteps, running before time took our dreams away, leaving the myriad small creatures trying to tie us to the ground.
Very creepy video, isn't
To a
it?
life consumed by slow decay.
Powerful
The
lyrics.
grass was greener, the light was brighter, with friends around us.
Getting goosebumps.
The nights of wonder. Looking beyond the ember.
Oh, so that bit we just heard must be the chorus, I guess. I like it. I like it a lot. I think I know why. Let's play more of the song and then we'll do a little pause and I'll try and summarize why I like the chorus.
Of bridges glowing behind us, to a glimpse of how green it was on the other side. Steps taken forwards, but sleepwalking back again, dragged by the force of some inner tide. At a higher altitude, the flag unfurled, we reached the dizzy heights of that dreamed of world.
Really cool video, isn't it? And even more interesting because we appear to have got a key change. Nice acoustic guitar coming in. And we have a very militaristic snare drum. Quite unsettling. When I use these words, by the way, like eerie, creepy, unsettling, I don't mean it in a bad way. If anything, it's a sign of a powerful song. A song that affects us emotionally. At least that's the case with me right now. Clearly, I'm not alone. This video on Pink Floyd's channel, 132 million views, uploaded 11 years ago. Okay, before we carry on with the song, we're 3 minutes through of nearly 8 minutes. I'd like to go back and just say a few things on the chorus. I really like the chorus. So what happens first? Noticeably, with the vocals, they jump up the octave. And it's such a short, simple melody, just 3 notes that we hear once and we can repeat.
The grass was greener, the light was brighter.
And it seems like it could be quite fun to sing, as weird as that sounds. We notice how they're sliding through the notes. Instead of there's like a slide to it, rhythmically as well as melodically, a bit more bouncy. Anyway, with such a simple melody, just 3 notes repeated several times, it's what happens in between the singing that really, I think, gives it this musical substance. The harmony underneath, and as usual with harmony, I personally think it's the bass line that's really important. So the first time round we get...
The grass was greener,
And those notes, C, G, A flat, B flat, they're the chords that we hear. And then the bass line rises.
Light was brighter.
It rises just after the lyrics, the light was brighter. Brightness rising up. Real nice transition between the two lines, because the first line, as we know in the bass, is, and then it goes. So together, that contrast between the sinking and then the second time round, this rising up, is very apparent because this note here is clashing with that we hear elsewhere. So we get this, you know, this really harsh dissonance in there. Let's have a listen for that.
The light was brighter.
And in the bass we have. And similarly, rising up, the chords follow suit as well. You might be thinking, cool, so Hairless, what's so interesting about that? Well, I think it's the fact that the melody doesn't change. The melody repeats the same 3 notes, then a gap, same 3 notes, then a gap. This is a great way of keeping us familiar with the melody. We don't have to do any extra work in our brains as the listener. We can be on almost autopilot, just singing those 3 notes, but all of the interesting stuff is happening underneath. There are changes in the harmony, which isn't direct repetition, therefore it's not boring, and we still get variety, even though the melody is the same. Then the chorus ends and we go back to the verse, and we have the imagery really complementing the lyrics.
Looking beyond the ember.
With the bells being carried. Did the bells continue to play? Because they're still playing this repeated C. But were they playing in the chorus? Before the chorus, we can still hear them.
Along the long road and on down the causeway.
In this first changed bit, but in the chorus itself,
The grass was greener. The light.
I think so, but just very difficult to hear, really, really subtle. And just before we carry on, I think it's worth noting as well the little quirky bits they add in. Because this song is calm, well, is it really calm? I'm not sure, but it's not upbeat and super lively with loads of really energetic rhythms everywhere. So these weird noises, like, have a listen here to this bit, as well as the violin parts.
Steps taken forwards, but sleepwalking back again.
We had like a wah noise and then a violin as well coming in, the octave above. They're entering just not perfectly on the beat, so they're just adding a bit of rhythmic energy, like an injection of weird rhythms in there. All right, let's carry on from this changed section. Cool imagery as well, isn't it? Black smoke in the background, huge black, I don't even know what you'd call this. Very militaristic. It's almost like a memorial ceremony or something, isn't it? Like everything is shrouded in death or darkness. Lovely guitar part there. Now we're back. Back to C minor.
Encumbered forever by desire and ambition. There's a hunger still unsatisfied. Our weary eyes still stray to the horizon. Though down this road we've been so many times. The grass was greener.
There are a lot of things going on in the background. Not too dissimilar actually to the opening, but what would the notable things be there? I think the bass pedal, dum, 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 coming in kind of like a heartbeat, dum, dum. And the violins just sustained right at the top for a long, long time. Adding in an orchestral element changes the feel of the song. I think it does. If you enjoy these videos or find them helpful, please consider supporting me. Patreon has a bunch of exclusive benefits, behind the scenes videos, additional reaction content, Q&A videos, and more. For a one-time donation, you can donate me a hot chocolate at the Buy Me a Coffee link, or become a YouTube member for these groovy emojis and membership badges. And a huge thank you to these lovely people on the screen now. Electric guitar solo now. Before we had very much an acoustic or classical guitar solo. Luckily for me, the music isn't too dissimilar actually. Like the chorus is basically the same. The things I spoke about before, that bass line and the accompanying chords, and then how the bass line proceeds to go up with that clash there. Yeah, really nice in my opinion. It's what stands out the most to me anyway. And that in turn means that I can kind of focus a bit more on the video itself. What is written on these balloons? I would love to know. We can't really see here. It was more in the car. What is that? If you know, let me know. Is it a symbol? Pink Floyd related, perhaps? I don't recognize it. And they're being released. What is this, like releasing memories or past experiences or something? Very smooth electric guitar solo, and in the piano we can hear these syncopations or slightly more agitated, quick staccato rhythms. So now we're really getting a nice contrast across the whole soundscape. I just keep focusing on the bass line. I think a good bass line is key in pretty much every song or any song. If it's catchy, which I think this one is, that's a good thing. So simple as well, but effective. The video is very trippy. I think it would have been fun if they'd filmed that in the university when all the students were there. Students get to see a Pink Floyd video being filmed. That would have been quite cool. It's nice as well how rich in culture Cambridge University is, quintessentially British on so many levels. The architecture, especially here, as we can see. So yeah, really interesting. There's another minute of the song. Again, just to say something to break the song up for copyright reasons. I won't say which. I think literally 3 other Pink Floyd songs I know, but 2 of them are also quite long. So my question to you is, are most Pink Floyd songs quite long? And in those other 2, they do, I think, if I remember correctly, finish with fairly lengthy instrumental sections, which I guess is what we're happening now, you know, several minutes worth. Which might I add? I'm a bit torn. I'm a bit torn. One of the Pink Floyd songs that I know, I became entirely obsessed with in all cases of songs ever in the history of Sir Hairless. That one was the closest one to turning me genuinely mad, like insane, just from how much I would listen to that song. And when I would hear it, I just became so encapsulated in it, like I was in my own little world. So having these lengthy songs, especially when they're so smooth, I think they do a really good job of allowing you to just fully immerse yourself within it. The downside perhaps is they're long. I know not everyone likes longer songs. If you have a long song, I think it should be worth it. Oof. That's very high. That's moving very high. And there we go. Nice imagery. I like how earlier on in the song, when they were talking about the embers, we had the orange flames in front of them, and now they are out of focus in front of the huge ball of flame in the background, the sun. And of course, we're repeating back to this repeated C idea in the bells, just as we started. Really interesting. I'm very keen to listen to this again, probably multiple times, not on camera. I think there's a lot to think about with this song, especially with the lyrics. When I listen again, it will probably be without the video. Pink Floyd are probably a band worth exploring for me, considering I basically don't know them at all. So if you made it this far, thank you very much. Firstly, comment down below other songs by Pink Floyd you'd like me to do. Comments really help with the algorithm, so if you don't want to comment any words, let's just do an emoji. How about a balloon emoji, like you see on the screen now? A like on the video would massively help as well, and I'll see you in the next one.